How Kate Middleton and Prince William are really doing after Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's big move. Well, if anyone was going to get away with making light of royal family turmoil right in front of the royals themselves, it was going to be Brad Pitt. Though he did, however, send Margot Robbie in at the moment of truth to deliver the punchline. Oh, and he says that he is going to name this Harry cause he is really excited about bringing it back to the States with him, his words not mine. Robbie said Saturday at the BAFTAs, accepting Pitt's supporting actor honor for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in his absence. True story, that was written down and everything. And Prince William and Kate Middleton, who regularly attend the British Oscars, had a good laugh. Which must have felt pretty nice. Pitch Brexit zinger, hey Britain, heard you just became single, welcome to the club, wishing you the best with the divorce settlement has received short shrift in favor of his Megxit joke, but apparently the American movie star is up to speed on the two things dominating the international headlines out of the United Kingdom these days. Over the past month, all eyes have been on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle since their bombshell announcement on January 8 that they planned to split their time between Britain and North America and would be seeking financial independence while still representing Queen Elizabeth II, Harry's grandmom, on the world stage. Though it wasn't news to the royal family that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex wanted to distance themselves, the Queen didn't know the statement was going out on that day, and the palace's terse response, noting that these were complicated matters that weren't actually still being discussed, was another bombshell in its own right. Harry and Meghan's flowery way of saying they were over it was immediately followed by an emergency meeting convened by the Queen with William and Prince Charles, who has long envisioned a more streamlined way of doing royal business as the monarchy heads into the future, but who also still wanted Harry to be an active member of the firm. 10 days after Buckingham Palace found itself in crisis mode, the deal was done, with Harry and Meghan no longer working royals at all because, as relayed by an uncharacteristically tender-sounding statement from the Queen explaining the terms of her grandson's pivot to a more private life, it just doesn't work that way. And with that, William and Kate were left to tote the weary load as the remaining full-time royals of their generation. Not that you'd know from looking at the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge that there's anything worrying about what they've been asked to do, which is work overtime, not only by putting in more hours, but also by jam-packing their existing schedule with extra significance to communicate to the people that all will be fine. That, in fact, everything is fine already. Kate and William certainly haven't spoken publicly about the seismic shift in the royal family since they went back to work in 2020 after their holiday break, starting with a visit by both of them to Bradford Hall, in West Yorkshire, on January 15. Much was read into William's remarks that day when he talked about the importance of confronting challenges and doing everything possible to press forward amid the obstacles life throws at you. We just need to deal with them and we need to move forward rather than just be stuck in paralysis and pretend they don't happen, he advised. Pretty par for the course, really, considering the family's never complain, never explain motto that's historically been practiced from the top down, but at least it's perfectly good advice. William had also shared that he and Kate were making a point of getting out more often, to see as many places in the UK we may not have been to very much, to try and understand some of the more complex challenges, some of the slightly more tucked-away challenges, that people find hard to talk about. Kate also made several stops in quick succession around Great Britain to meet with preschool-age children, teachers and caregivers, early education and childhood development being especially close to her heart and part of a long-term project she's embarking on to survey the quality of life of the nation's youngest residents. I had a tiny baby in the middle of Anglesey, the mother of 3 recalled during a visit to a daycare centre in Cardiff, Wales. It was so isolated, so cut off. I didn't have any family around. William was still working with search and rescue doing night shifts. If only I'd had a centre like this. As a parent, I know how much we cherish the future health and happiness of our children, Kate also said. I want to hear the key issues affecting families and communities so I can focus my work on where it is needed most. My ambition is to provide lasting change for generations to come. She and William also honored survivors at a service at Westminster's Central Hall on UK Holocaust Remembrance Day, which this year marked the 75th anniversary of the liberation of the Auschwitz death camp. The dust feels like it's settling and we're able to see, or at least notice, what other members of the royal family are up to, ABC News royal correspondent Omid Scobie noted last week on his podcast The AirPod. But though William and Kate have been the very picture of keeping calm and carrying on, their upper lips as stiff as the day is long, they are still just people, both of whom have been partially blamed for Harry and Meghan's ultimate inability to stomach the constant scrutiny and outright attacks on the Duchess' character that prompted them to move across the Atlantic. In fact, much has been said about the perceived lack of support from all corners of the most prominent royals when the going got especially rough for Meghan and Harry. Just how rough came into focus when the couple talked to friend and journalist Tom Bradby while they were in Africa in October for an ITV special, and Meghan said out loud that her friends had warned her before she married Harry that the British tabloids would ruin her life, and that, yes, she thought the press had treated her unfairly. Even more heartbreaking was Harry's admission that photographers' flashes going off in his face still reminded him of his late mother, Princess Diana, who was being tailed by paparazzi when the car she was riding in smashed into a pillar in Paris Pont de l'Alma tunnel in 1997, and some paps kept snapping away at the wreckage.